Hello and welcome to the Business English Podcast. My name is Rob and I'm thrilled to have you with me today. Let me begin with a short story. Picture Charlie, a brilliant finance professional who recently moved to London from abroad. He's got the numbers down, he's got the drive, but there's one thing holding him back. When it's time to spark a conversation with a new contact or speak up in high-stakes meetings, he freezes. What if my English sounds off, he worries. What if people think I'm not prepared? Have you ever felt this flash of uncertainty? You know your craft, but when it comes to reaching out, whether it's networking at conferences, chiming in during meetings, or pitching an idea in front of the higher-ups, you stumble over the right words or tone. Maybe you're concerned about being too direct, or not direct enough. Today's episode is called Reaching Out, Networking, Meetings and Pitches. Because let's face it, effective communication can open doors you didn't even know existed. But what does reaching out really mean in a business context? How can you build genuine connections without sounding pushy or awkward? And here's a question to keep in mind. Could a single, simple phrase change the impression you make on a potential client or future boss? Stick around because in this episode, I'm going to guide you through how to sound more confident, professional, and naturally engaging when you approach people in various business scenarios. We'll explore the subtle differences in tone and language that separate the good communicators from the great ones. And here's a little teaser. Later in the show, I'll share a key mistake that can derail even the best-intentioned outreach, something many non-native speakers overlook. Don't miss it because avoiding this blunder can elevate your professional image overnight. So are you ready to break through those language barriers and start speaking with clarity and confidence? Let's find out together. Keep listening, and by the end of this episode, you'll have the tools you need to handle everything from first-time introductions to high-stakes pitches. Let's dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Business English Podcast, helping professionals communicate more effectively, more confidently, and with impact. With your host, Rob, from Energetic English. Let's get down to business. Now, let's talk about why reaching out the right way is so crucial in business. Picture this. You walk into a bustling networking event. You see potential clients, industry leaders, maybe even someone who could be a vital career contact. Yet, you hesitate. You're worried about sounding awkward, or worse, unprofessional. We've all been there, and here's the truth. The ability to reach out in a clear, effective manner can transform these moments from tense to triumphant. Think about how many times in your professional life you need to initiate contact, requesting a meeting, introducing yourself at a conference, or even pitching an idea to your boss. This skill of reaching out can mean the difference between forging valuable business relationships and missing critical opportunities. It's not just about getting your foot in the door, it's about leaving a positive, lasting impression that says, I'm competent, I'm confident, and I'm ready to collaborate. Let's break down 3 big scenarios where this skill really shines. Firstly, networking. Conferences, trade shows, coffee meetups, whatever the setting, a well-crafted introduction can catch someone's attention and spark a meaningful connection. But how do you strike that perfect balance between friendly and professional? We'll dive deeper soon. Secondly, meetings. Whether you're running the show or simply attending, knowing how to ask questions, offer suggestions, or clarify points politely can shift how people perceive you. It shows initiative and respect, 2 qualities that can elevate your professional reputation almost instantly. And thirdly, pitches. You might have the greatest idea in the room, but if you can't articulate it in a way that captures interest, that idea is as good as hidden. The skill of reaching out helps you frame your message so that decision makers don't just hear it, but truly listen. Now, here is something to keep in mind. A single awkward phrase or offhand comment can derail even the most promising outreach. In a few minutes, I'll share one critical mistake non-native speakers often make without even realizing, and it's something you can fix right away, so stay tuned for that. When you master the art of reaching out, you essentially set the stage for the entire conversation. It's your first impression, your handshake, only in verbal form. Get it right and you'll open doors you didn't even know were there. In just a moment, we'll dig into how to form these statements and exact phrases that work like a charm. Trust me, once you have these tools in your communication arsenal, you'll feel a whole new level of confidence in your professional interactions. So keep listening, because up next, I'll show you how to construct these key expressions step by step, complete with examples you can use today. Alright, it's time to dive into the how of reaching out effectively. But before we start practicing some key phrases, a quick reminder. If you're looking for more powerful professional resources and even a transcript of an episode, sign up for our weekly newsletter, the 3-Minute Minutes. It's packed with tips to sharpen your business English skills fast. The link is in the description. Now, let's explore 4 short phrases that can make a big impact in your professional communication. I'll say each phrase twice, so feel free to repeat after me. Then I'll give a quick scenario to show you where it fits best. First phrase. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Use this as a friendly opener when emailing someone you already know or when you haven't been in touch for a while. It's polite, concise, and sets a positive tone. Second phrase. I'm reaching out because. Perfect for when you're initiating contact and need to explain why you're getting in touch. Maybe you're following up on a conference conversation or wanting to introduce your services. This line keeps things clear and professional right from the start. Third phrase. If it's convenient, I'd love to discuss. Here, you're politely inviting someone to a conversation without sounding too forceful. It's especially effective in an email or a LinkedIn message when you're requesting a quick chat or suggesting a phone call. Fourth phrase. Could we schedule a time to talk further? Great for moving the conversation forward, like after an initial meeting or once you've exchanged ideas online. This phrase respectfully asks to take the discussion to the next step, showing you value the other person's time. Keep these phrases handy and try them out soon. In the next part of our discussion, I'll share a common error that many non-native speakers make with these phrases and how to avoid it altogether. It might surprise you just how easy it is to fix. Okay, let's dive into a few common pitfalls people run into when using these phrases, because even the best expressions can fall flat if they're delivered the wrong way. There's one mistake in particular that can sabotage your outreach before you've even begun, and I'll tell you how to dodge it in just a moment. First, let's talk about being too wordy or vague. I know it's tempting to pack in details and context, but if your message becomes cluttered, your main point gets lost. For instance, you might say something like, I'd like to connect because there are various things we could possibly chat about and I'm hoping to explore ... That's too meandering. Instead, sharpen it to, I'm reaching out to continue our conversation on specific topic. Another major misstep is using language that's too casual, or on the flip side, overly direct. You don't want to sound stiff, but you also don't want your email to read like you're texting a friend. For example, avoid writing, "Hey, got a sec?" to someone you haven't worked with before. At the same time, be careful not to slip into commanding language like, We need to talk on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Aim for a blend of politeness and confidence, which we covered in those sample phrases earlier. One other common error is forgetting to include a clear request. This is where a great conversation starter can fizzle out. You might do an amazing job introducing yourself or your topic, but if you never say exactly what you need, like scheduling a call or requesting a meeting, the other person has no clear next step. And guess what happens then? Your message lingers without a response. Alright, with those pitfalls in mind, how do we ensure they don't trip you up? Let's run through a few quick tips. Firstly, practice shadowing. Listen to native speakers or record yourself using phrases we discussed. This way, you can iron out any awkward intonation or wording. Secondly, draft and review. Before sending an email or message, give it a second look. Is it concise? Does it have a specific ask? And thirdly, be aware of cultural nuances. Different regions and companies, for that matter, have different norms for communication. If you're reaching out to someone in a more formal environment, lean into a polite tone. If the culture is more casual, you can lighten it up. Just don't overdo it. Finally, here's that big mistake I mentioned. Failing to show genuine interest in the other person. Too often, messages jump straight into a request without any acknowledgement of the recipient's perspective. Even just one line showing you understand their role or appreciate their expertise can make the world of difference. So, keep these tips in mind. In the next segment, we'll wrap up everything we've covered so far, and I'll share one last piece of advice that can elevate your communication style almost instantly. Stay tuned. That brings us to the end of today's episode of the Business English Podcast. I hope these tips and phrases have inspired you to take your outreach skills to the next level. Remember, a few choice words can open the door to brand new connections, whether you're networking at a crowded event or pitching your ideas in a crucial meeting. If you want even more resources to power up your professional English, don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter, the 3-Minute Minutes. It's where you'll find transcripts, quick tips, and sneak peeks of what's coming next on the show. Until then, keep practicing, keep reaching out, and of course, keep it strictly business.